Hello. Let's make sure that's all working. Let's make sure that's all working. All right. So. So we want over here. Just on the off chance anybody says hi. Firefox, we're gonna need you. Let's just be ready. That's gonna happen. First things first, we have to update everything in the world. That's surprisingly fast. All right. So, I'm going to work on an app. It's an app idea I've had that is kind of really just a tool that I want to use myself to help me manage the gardening I've been doing. So, I don't have a huge garden, but I have a few little areas, few square feet here and there that I can try to grow various vegetables in. But I am not very good at paying attention to that and doing things at the right time. So I would like an app that I can tell it where I am, my hardiness zone, my soil pH, if that's of interest or if it's useful. I want to tell it the square footage I have, the various beds, the amount of water, if that is helpful, the seeds I have, the things I want to grow, and then based on that, I'm hoping that should be enough information for the app to give me useful notifications and prompts to say, hey, you need to go make sure that this seed you planted yesterday or a week ago has germinated, and you should be seeing leaves through the soil right now. And if that has happened, then yes, you press yes, everything is going according to plan, and based on your input or inputs and the date and the inevitable progress of time and things like the weather, which the app could determine for itself. I feel like it should be possible to manage the garden very easily. It's going to tell me, hey, you got a good week here where the weather's going to be reasonable. You can go outside and you could do 2 hours of yard work every day and you can get stuff done. And then you can have some potatoes in time for Thanksgiving, which would be perfect. Or like, hey, your average first frost date where you live is November the 15th. So if you want to get any Brussels sprouts, you need to plant them today or in the next week. And you need to make sure they get this much sun and, this much fertilizer. Today's a good day to add fertilizer, that kind of thing. Because I can go out and buy fertilizer, and I can go out and, get soil and make sure that the plants have water, that kind of stuff. But if I don't know when it's the right time to do it, or if I don't have a reminder, I'll probably forget, and I'll be playing on the PlayStation instead, or I will do work around the house instead. But to get those little prompts and to be reminded, like, hey, you really need to do this, otherwise the rest of the effort you've put in has been wasted, I think that'll be really helpful. I don't really know how that app is going to look at this point, but the first step of any app is really setting up the project structure, deciding on some technology options. Do I want Dagger? Do I want RX Java? Am I writing the whole thing in Kotlin? Yes I am. Do I care if anyone else can ever use this app, or is this just going to be for me? What methodology do I want to use? Design patterns? Is this going to be MVVM or MVC or something messy? And so I think it's good to kind of get started on those things. A lot of my projects don't really make it much further than that, just mostly due to time constraints. I have a 2-year-old son, I have a wife. Right now I'm in between jobs. I left my job in July, but I start my new job a week from Monday, so I'm unlikely to have a huge amount of time to work on these projects, but I want it to be documented. I just hope to have something that's usable at some point in the future, something where I can say, hey, I built a new garden bed, I've now got 24 square feet, I want to grow potatoes, when shall I do it? And just have it run itself and tell me, today's the day you need to do this, and then prompt me for input, like, you planted these potatoes 3 weeks ago, they should have germinated. Do you see leaves yet? And if I say yes, then great, That's more information that can go into the app, and the calculations that follow from there will tell me when I'm likely to have a harvest, or if I'll actually get a harvest before the frost kills the plants off, if it even does. So yeah, really, the sooner I get started on that, the better. So let's just get going. So I'm a big fan of bottom nav. I really like that. I like the way it works. I don't imagine using this on any device other than my own phone right now, which there's my son in the background, as I'm sure you can hear. It's his bedtime. He does not enjoy bedtimes. This may be a little mistake, but to begin with, I think it's important just to have rapid iteration. So I want to go with whatever Google gives me with a bottom navigation. I think that is as good a name as I'm gonna get. So Sonderful is a name. It's just a name I came up with. Supposed to be a mix between Sonder, which is the name of the feeling of, or the realization that every single person you see in the world is living a life that is just as whole and deep as your own. So it's easy to kind of, you see a guy on a bus or driving his car, you see him for like 10 seconds and then he's gone. You probably never see that guy ever again. But he has a job, he has a wife, he has kids, he has his own concerns. You know, he's got debt for the car that he's driving. He's got to go to the supermarket, and every single one of the 7 billion people on the planet have that going on. And I just find that concept really interesting. And kind of insane. So I think it's a very interesting concept. So I picked Sonder and the word wonderful. I just thought Sonderful was kind of cool. Interesting term. I think, so let's see here. I have a Pixel 3 XL. And right now, my phone is running Android version 9. I probably want to test this on something slightly lower than 9, I guess. But if I'm never going to release this, which is likely, then I guess 9 is probably fine, you know? If at the point where I'm likely to release this to public, if that ever happens, then 9 will probably be a sensible minimum SDK level. If I was to release an app today, the min SDK I would go for is probably 21. I think that covers a huge percentage of current devices. Maybe it's a little too low now, it's on the border of low, but it gives you all of the, like, you don't have to worry about multi-decks anymore, things like that. It's helpful. I'd probably try and bump it up a little bit even higher than that, just because the market is so small for an app like this that I don't think the time I would spend supporting a lower min SDK is actually worth it. So yeah, I'd probably just go for maybe even just 6% of devices only. That's not a lot of devices, and maybe thinking about the market of people who are likely to use this app, maybe a little older, but perhaps not. I mean, let me think. I'm going to use it. The kind of person I see having like a data-driven approach to gardening is based on using an app is probably younger than your typical old man with a flat cap in his yard, in his garden, like growing the same thing for the 15th year in a row. Yeah, maybe I'll just go with a nice high min SDK level, and I can probably drop that down relatively easily without too much impact. I doubt I'm likely to use anything that is not available in 7 or 6 even. So let's just get on with that. We'll use Android X. I don't care about instant apps particularly. It would be nice if this app could run without all the Google Play integrations, because it's pretty concerning of late how Google is treating developers, or mistreating them, by just banning their app out of the blue one day, or letting people post terrible reviews with just no reason. There's no information in the review. It's just like, your app's gay, lol, and then 1 star. And it's you challenge that review, and Google just says, hey, it looks like a good review to me. And there you go. Now you're stuck with a 1-star app rating. Or even conversely, you get a 5-star app rating, and the review just says, like, your app sucks, which doesn't even make sense. So it's clearly a bad review. If you challenge it, Google doesn't care. If you don't challenge it, you look like you're cheating your own reviews. It's bizarre. And then out of nowhere, Google could just decide to ban your account, and there goes your entire revenue stream. And if you've built your app to require Google Play services or anything like that, there's no way out of that in a reasonable amount of time. Which is just scary. You're tying yourself to somebody else who they are their own gatekeepers. They are the final say. You have nowhere to go if you have a problem with them other than to them. And what are they going to do? They're not going to disagree with themselves. You're screwed. So it's concerning. But more and more Android stuff is tying Android developers to Google, which seems like bad practice. It's like kind of abusing your monopoly, in my opinion. Sure, I could go write an iOS app, but I don't want to. I don't have an iOS phone. I don't want to change my entire day-to-day thing so that I can safely develop this app. And even then, I'd just be tied into Apple's ecosystem instead of Google's. It's not much better. It's a duopoly. There are exactly two places you can go. I could put my app in the Amazon store, and all the people using their Kindle Fire tablets could install it. Yeah, that's not going to happen. The best I could hope for is sticking it in two app stores, the Play Store and the Amazon App Store, and hoping that works out. So yeah, not great. But I digress. Let's just get on with creating this application here. So starting the Gradle daemon. First thing I do in any project in Android Studio is switch from Android view to project view. Just the way I like to think about things. And we have errors. So I haven't changed a single line, and there is an error here. So the Gradle sync failed. I don't really know what to do about that. I think I'll just let it carry on. What's it saying here? What is it doing? Gradle refresh, a Gradle build, and indexing. Okay, so that looks good. I'd imagine the font size is too small. Let's see if I can... No. I guess that's big enough. So, this is the activity. So we've got the bottom navigation view, which is the container of the menu that dictates the shortcuts that are visible at the bottom of the activity, so the stuff that is down here. And these need to be things like home, dashboard, notifications. For the gardening app, I think it might be... I think a notifications tab would make a lot of sense in this, because nobody wants to keep the active notifications in the system bar, in the system tray. Nobody wants those there, right? They annoy the hell out of me. As soon as I can interact with them and get rid of them, I do. But that doesn't mean I want to dismiss it forever. So it would be nice to be able to come into the app and say, oh, I think 2 days ago I was notified about this, or earlier on I was notified about this thing. Let me just see what that was, and then, yeah, the notifications tab here would have some concept of a notification I've seen or I have acted upon. So that would be useful. Home and dashboard. Those are kind of strange terms, right? Like, what do they mean? What is in home? How is that different from dashboard? In this app. So I guess home would actually be garden, and that would be perhaps the current view of the state of your garden. That's something you want to see, right? So a list of the garden beds or display of the garden beds. Depending on how many you have, you might want that might need to be like a recycler view. Something more graphical might be nice, but massively increases the complexity of the app. So probably to start with, you just want a really basic view. So yeah, we'd probably start with garden, and then maybe from there, like tapping on an individual element in here, you want to go into the detail view of that bed. So right now in one bed I have just tomatoes, but in a couple of my other beds, so in my second bed, I have strawberries, but also carrots and leeks. It's a pretty small bed, so I have a few different areas in there. Like, there's one leek plant that I just left previously that's growing really well. It's just about ready to harvest. The strawberries have kind of gone wild in there, but in the bit where there were no strawberry plants or leeks, I just planted some fresh carrot seeds, so they're growing. So having it on the bed level maybe doesn't make sense, but that is how you think of it. So perhaps, yeah, the bed is a logical container here. We could always abstract that away. Yeah, your garden consists of beds, or areas, or zones, I guess, because I also have fruit trees. They're not in a bed, but I would want to consider them separately. I wouldn't want to look at some conceptual view of my garden that has beds, and I have to create a fake bed that just contains one orange tree, for example. Yeah, so I guess I'll just concept of a zone or a growing area. So that would be in the garden. You could go from each item there to a detail view. The detail view would contain potentially a huge list, so another recycler view of items that are growing in there, and it would have their statuses. So you could see, like, just as I was saying earlier, my second bed would have leek at the point of ready to harvest, so some idea of progress and upcoming actions. Strawberries they've been harvestable for a few months now, but they are still harvestable, but they're coming to the end of their useful time this year. And then carrots that are right at the beginning. So I guess maybe it makes sense to do it kind of square foot by square foot, or square meter by square meter, something like that. I think people don't... Square meter is a much bigger area than a square foot, but I don't know if, like, when I'm from England, and I don't think I ever would have considered saying square half meter. But I also didn't have the space to build beds the size of the ones I have here in California, so maybe I could just dictate the area and the split, and that doesn't really need to be... Yeah, I could enter the area of a bed, and I could enter the area used by the existing plants, and that would give me the area left, and each plant would have an entry in a database somewhere that tells me this plant needs, each individual plant of this variety requires this much space, and therefore you can plant 3 of them in the space you have remaining in this bed. Yeah, so I don't need to worry about the size. It's not like I'm rendering a view of it at this point. And if I do, then, then I could worry about that in the future. So I have garden. Perhaps upcoming events? Yeah, upcoming events might be useful because I need to go in here and see, like, do I need to buy fertilizer? Do I need to buy some good mulch product? Is there something I need to do soon to prepare myself for what's coming up? And then notifications for, like, hey, this is stuff you can act on now. Those seem like a timeline, and they could be combined into one fragment, though, like things that have passed and things that are coming up. So garden and timeline. And then what else? I guess like probably want to keep notes, keep data, but those could be accessible from the garden tab by just following the views. Perhaps we only need 2. We can add a 3rd if something comes up. Okay, so data-driven gardening, home, dashboard, notifications. Interesting that it shows that as the overflow menu when it is not. So we want a timeline string. We don't want notifications, they can go. Title timeline. Really, we probably want like a clock for that instead. Home needs to be garden. I highly doubt that there is an icon for garden. Garden, yeah, don't need home. Dashboard doesn't mean anything. Garden and timeline. TG. So resources, drawables. We want a couple of new vector drawables. Let's take a look and see what we have here. Nothing. Plants. Nothing. Tree. Nothing. Leaf. Come on. Like a grid. That kind of makes sense if you've got like a raised bed or something like that where you've split it by square foot or something like that. Maybe that makes sense. That'll do for now. Navigation garden, actually. Navigation timeline. So we need a new drawable here. It's like a clock, probably. Come on. Okay. Access time. How is that? How does that not show up for clock? Timeline, but that just looks like a graph. A chart. Don't really No, that's not really what I want. We'll go with access time, whatever that means. Rename that timeline. Finish. And then that changes, okay. Garden timeline. All right. So what do we have code-wise? What's been generated for us? Yeah. We have a main activity. We have app bar configuration. Okay, this is annoying. I guess we got a bit carried away there. Mobile navigation. We don't have that. That doesn't exist. Title, timeline. Oh, we already have fragments generated. Dashboard's gone. That code can die. Home. We want that to be garden. And why not just garden fragment? Garden view model? Sure, just do it. Sorry, keep smacking the microphone as I move the mouse. Move my hand to the mouse. Dashboard is gone, so that can come out of here. RID. Yeah, no, that is timeline now. Notifications fragment, yeah, again. Timeline. Shift F6. Timeline view model. Property. Yeah, we want to rename that. So I guess I didn't rename that one in the garden view model. In the garden fragment, sorry. Yeah. Wait, what was this? Was the bottom suggestion there garden? Yes, thank you. You know what? Why complicate things? Layout of fragment home. Yeah, of course those are still fragment garden. Fragment timeline. Dashboard, you can die. Goodbye. Activity main. Garden and timeline. Hotel menu, which is okay, and then back to the navigation, which is going to be broken. Garden timeline. Alright. Seems reasonable. Oh, wait. Yes. Oh, I didn't rename that one. What's the difference here? Source, main, res, navigation, mobile navigation. Ah, yeah. button. Garden, right. So it's just an icon. What's that? Where did... What? Oh, is that the... It's referenced from where it says just, this is home. Yeah. Text view, find it by ID. Text observe, blah, text view, it is string. So the view model, the string is, yes, so I already updated that. Okay, fine. And then, is there another reference to dashboard anywhere? Just an icon and notifications. Yeah, again, that just needs to be text timeline. Okay, I'm back. Hello. We don't need that now. That's my amazing art to say I'm away. Alright, so... where was I? So I think that's... everything is named or set up correctly now. Do you still need a round icon and a non-round icon if you're targeting a MinSDK of Android O? That's weird. Anyway, whatever. So there's no way of navigating between these two fragments right now. So that's all good. We have the main activity, which is the host activity of everything. And one of the first things we'll want in here is the navigation architecture component. Which is there already. Right? Oh, okay. I have to update all of these. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's all of these things being out of date, especially when they're all stable. So let's get all of that up to date. Okay. Compile, bin, target. Version code is 1, but I don't like to call that version 1 of the app. It's nowhere near version 1. I do want to minify the release version. I don't need to minify a debug version. I'm not sure if I really need to set up ProGuard twice there. No, because minification is disabled. Alright, let's sync that, make sure it builds. Oh, what else? I want my... okay, the other build Gradle, project level. Let's just wait for it to sync everything here. Okay, that's looking good. Yes, I know, don't place your application dependencies here. Okay, that looks okay. Check my Gradle properties for the wrapper, because I actually want all sources. Yep. Is that the latest Gradle version? Nope. 5.6.2. Wonder if that is compatible. Let's have a look. Can take a while. That's looking good. What's these safe args? Navigation safe args. Yes. Yeah. There's some Gradle configuration here somewhere. Did I miss it? Hmm. Am I insane? Did I miss that? Okay. Bizarre. Just include those. 2.1.0, you say. Is that what we've already got in here? Navigation, fragment, yeah, okay. So we already have those. Safe args. Google is already a repository here. In the dependencies, we use nav version, which is not defined. Yes. All right. And that, once the project is built, will give us generated classes with predictable names that allows us to initiate navigation between two items defined here in the nav graph, which is incredibly useful. So I just build the app, make sure that those classes get generated. So in the build directory, there is a set of generated classes, I think, in here. Maybe down here. Probably best to just wait for it to build in C. Oh dear. Cannot inline bytecode built with JVM target 1.8 into bytecode that is being built with JVM target 1.6. So I think in our build.gradle file, we need to set the, what is it, the compatibility, Java compatibility version. Can't remember the specific lines I need there. Yeah. Where does that go? Tasks. Convention properties. Yes, where exactly does that go? Somebody give me an example. This is when I just go to GitHub. Source compatibility. Code. This is Gradle code. Compile Kotlin. Just top level in the build.gradle. Huh. Interesting the number of different ways people have of doing the same thing. So, can I just do the top level? Is it target compatibility? Yes, it was. Let's see if that solves my problem. Probably not. Probably. Wait, I was building, not just syncing. Let's see. Okay, well that's one problem, but I don't understand. Why has that got anything at all to do with... Cannot inline bytecode built with JVM target 1.8. Project structure. Oops. 1.8. Alright. So what did that change? Oh, compile options. So it was here. I put it here. We'll sync. We'll build. We'll wait for the next error. We haven't actually applied the plugin, right? The SafeArgs plugin. And that's still a problem. Yes, the Kotlin version. Use Android X in your Gradle.properties file. I'm pretty sure we do. I set that up. Yes. Might want to increase that later if we're building from the terminal. That builder, would that change? Would that fix my build error? I wouldn't have thought so. No. Huh. I have a few different issues. Please specify proper JVM target option. That's so weird. Target is there. I clean and rebuild. Go away. Huh. Okay. Wow. Close. Feels like it shouldn't be this hard to get a project going. And let's see if it works from the terminal. I hope not. I don't want inconsistent builds. Okay. All right, let's Google this. App bar configuration. Android compile options. Kotlin options, JVM target. Is that it? Is that seriously it? Kotlin options? Is that not enabled in here somewhere? Let's just... Oof. JVM target equals 1.8. In quotes versus not in quotes. Well, that's no longer red. I would have thought this would be enough, because nothing here is Java specific in name. And since that's the target compatibility for Java, you would have thought Kotlin would know it's also the target for itself. It's kind of odd. Really? Okay. Let's get back to that another time. So let's clean it. Oh, no. And assemble it. So it should work this time. It's going, it's going. 30 seconds building pretty much the most basic code base. 40. Doesn't help having Minify enabled and not specifying assemble debug. But still, like, less than 100 lines of code. It takes a minute and 15 seconds to build. Hooray! 1 minute 25 seconds. Let's just try cleaning again. And what is the difference? Just the debug. Huh. 23 seconds, okay. Should have specified the build variant. That would have saved a lot of effort. But at least we know the whole thing builds now. Yeah, so in theory we could add additional fragments now. A recycler view, view holders, all of that goodness, and then tapping on one of these recycler view holders would lead to the new fragment, the detail fragment for that growing area. And we could use safe args to pass in identifiers and all of that kind of stuff. The timeline fragment, we don't need any nav for that because the app bar configuration does that for us. But we need some concept and an additional like data store for notifications that have occurred but have not been acted upon, upcoming notifications, and notifications that are archived. They've been acted upon, and we may not even need to show those, but I think it makes sense to keep them around, see what you've done, see how useful the different notifications are as well, which would help determine which ones to kind of focus on for the future of the application. So yeah, I think that's a fairly good start for now. Probably kind of start coming up with the data store in the next stream, I think. Need to come up with data objects, probably just zone, plant, that kind of thing. Concepts of similar properties that each of the plants have, like growth time, time to germination, and then need to model some kind of like the hardiness zone of the area, and things like the time of first frost, the time of last frost, all of that, and then figure out, probably with one plant as just the starting point, just kind of get a working model of how everything should work. Yeah, but that's already quite complex. So it's a lot of data modeling to do. So I think it makes sense to do that next time. Yeah, so I'm going to call it a day. Goodbye.